Hello to all of our BPTV friends, fans, viewers, and YouTube fans too. This is our special request by request for the holiday season. So wait till you hear what Jessica Lee has to tell you. Go ahead, Jess, how are you?
Hey, Al, I'm great. As we kick off the holiday season, I want to say a big thank you to you, to Dave Cable, and everybody at BPTV for keeping these by request song shows coming. And I was wondering if you happen to be drinking anything holiday-esque.
I just poured another cup of Young Hyson. It's nice and warm on this chilly, gloomy day. So let me take a second sip. Couldn't talk there for a second while I digested. Sip by sip to better health for all of you, and prayers to everybody in need during this uprising in the COVID infections and sickness and death. So I just pray for everybody. And I know Jess is out there with us, and we're trying to inspire you because Jessica Lee and I co-produce. This is the Al Levine and Jessica Lee Jazz.com co-producing by request. And we have lots of people requesting things. And Jess, what do we have for today?
Well, today we have a special theme as we get ready to truly enter the holiday season. And you know, Al, I just want to say to you and to everybody who might be watching this that we have had a lot of people saying to us, would you please do this song or that song, sing this lyric or that lyric because I'm fighting sickness or because I'm fighting depression, I'm fighting severe anxiety. We've had a lot of that over the past couple of weeks. And I just want to say to everybody out there who might be fighting some illness or any depression or anxiety, just the blues like we all get from time to time as well. Hold on, just hold on for one more day, you know, hang in there. There's a lot of hope on the horizon and vaccines coming and treatments for certain illnesses. I've been hearing really good news about a lot of the treatments that are coming for the coronavirus might actually help to create new treatments for other diseases as well, like cancer. And
That'd be great.
so we want to keep focusing on those things that we can control, keep trying to train our mind to look at the things that are positive and lovely and healing in nature. And our show today, Al, is really kind of about that. The holiday season really has a spiritual element to it, joy and healing and hope for a better next year. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today with the by request song. So I have a good friend, and he actually, Al, is a musician as well. We may have him on the show sometime. He's a guitarist and a singer, Scott Albert.
Yes, I'm friends with him. I've been introduced through you for him. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and he does a lot with career development for people and a lot of community projects. Great guy. And he requested a really interesting song. He requested a song that I had not heard of before, Al.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, this song is called Up Above My Head. And Up Above My Head has been recorded by many people over a very, very long period of time. Nobody's even sure who really wrote it, right? And
Right.
so we're gonna talk about that in a minute, and we're gonna listen to
I'll
what
be
you've learned.
quiet. I'll be
Yeah,
quiet on that right now.
because I think you've researched this a little bit, but when Scott Albert requested the song Up Above My Head, he specifically said, Jess, can you do this song remembering Sister Rosetta Tharpe? So if people go to YouTube and take a look at Sister Rosetta, Rosetta Tharpe, Tharpe, she was in the 30s and the 40s playing a guitar, singing inspirational lyrics, and then adding a lot of rhythm, which was like the precursor of rock and roll. And she was adding rhythm and blues rhythms to gospel and inspirational lyrics and melodies. So I thought, wow, I'm going to take a look at this, Al. And I went back and I not only looked at the various ways that Sister Rosetta Tharpe performed, Up Above My Head. And she did it a lot of different ways, some slower, some faster, some with children clapping, and some with, guitar and symphony. But then I started to look at who else has performed this song and how they've done it. Some people have done it as a minor blues rather than as a kind of a regular 12-bar blues. Some people have done it in a true gospel style. And man, there's a lot of renditions and they're all different. So the one thing that is the same, and maybe we can listen to the song and then hear what you've learned, but the one thing that is the same is that the lyric says, up above my head, there's music in the air.
Yeah.
And all around the world, there's music in the air. And there's a sense of, even though you can't see it, there's music in the air, even though you can't see the good things are coming to you today. If you're watching this,
sure,
good things are coming to you today that you can't see right now. It's a message of hope. So do you want to say anything about Sister Rosetta before we do listen to her version first of the song?
Sure. I'll just share this. She was so prolific and crossed all lines of music. They even say she should be declared in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because she was doing rock and roll before it was invented. And people even say she did it before the Beatles did it. So that's going back. And just how prolific she is, I found out about her about 7-8 years ago because somebody told me about a train song that she sang, and she was just all over the place and very popular. She drew crowds, she did duos, orchestra, and she could play that guitar like nobody else. One of the legendary players. They even say she was a precursor for Chuck Berry, that how talented she was and how he was. So that's a little bit that I do have to say. She's full of energy like us, putting out the good vibes and the good music for all of us. That's what I have.
Yeah. So Al, I think that's a beautiful way to introduce this song. And one of her nicknames over the years has become the godmother of rock and roll. So she was a precursor very early on, innovator.
Yes,
woman innovator.
Truly.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to one of her versions. She has many versions, but let's listen to one. How about that?
Let's do it.
I hear music, mighty fine music. I hear music in the air. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. All in this room, there's music everywhere. All in this room, music in the air. All in this room, there is music in the air. I wonder what the world would do if we didn't have music. It would be so sad if there wasn't any music. We would be sad, sad, sad if there was no music. Up above my head, music in the air. Up above my head, there is music in the air. Up above my head, music in the air.
Jessica Lee, she is so full of energy, full of life. And if she doesn't touch your heart with that, you better listen to it again, because I'm fired up right now. And it's just amazing. I'll just share a little bit of my research and you can interact a little bit. But 1941, there was a song that sounded similar to this, and it came out, "Above My Head, Hear the Music." So there's some of the same phraseology. And then our girl, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and she discovered this other singer, let me get her name here, Marie Knight, at a Mahalia Jackson show. So she connected with her to do the duo in 1947 of "Up Above My Head." And it's just amazing, the skill and the skills of both of them singing it. And like you said, there's so many versions of this that's what's amazing. And so many people have sang it, and just the different things. They say "Over My Head" first came out by an unknown author in the 19th century. For all of you that don't understand, that's the 1800s. So I'll explain that to you if you're not savvy like that. Me being a history reader, I understand the centuries there. So that in itself shows it's unknown who wrote this. And for people to come up with their own versions, like Sister Rosetta and her many versions, and like you told me off the record, you could sing a few different, formats for this. So that's so cool. And it reached number 6 on the Billboard's race records in 1948. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to drop a couple names because there's so many big names. But Frankie Lane and Johnny Ray in 1956, they hit number 25 on the UK single charts. So that's going to 1956. Then here's one for you, Long John Baldry. And guess what? Rod Stewart sang it in 1964. How cool was that? And then we all know who Elvis is, right? Elvis did a 1968 TV special called Elvis and sang this song. And I'll end it with this, with a blues version, because you were talking about that. I wanted to mix it up a little. Ruthie Foster in 2007 sang the blues version of this. So it's very interesting.
Let me talk about that. So Al, when you say blues version, it is a blues. It's a 12-bar blues. Now, some people took it and made it a minor blues and changed it up a little bit in the format, but it's a blues. So when I posted this on Facebook Live, I had somebody that said, "That sounds like I Feel Good," and yeah. We had other comments. Well, you like a particular blues that one of these days I'll do for everybody, and that's the Going to Chicago blues.
Yes, I do.
Essentially, these 12-bar blues forms, it's the same music. You're just singing different melodies and different messages over this 12-bar blues form. So that's Rod Stewart picked it up and probably did a little more rock pop version of it. But
sure.
Hey, everybody, as George Benson always says, loves the blues. You can't lose with the blues.
Count me in. Count me in on that. I love the blues.
There's another hallmark of the blues, which is something that you'll see in this next performance that I did for Scott Albert by request. Every single time that you sing the blues, you can mix it up and do it a little differently. Go a little higher, go a little lower, say something in there that you might not say. Otherwise, if it's Christmas time, you might talk about the angels singing, which I did. Yes. If it's not Christmas time, I might not talk about that and sing that in the song. So it's very improvisational. And I think if people go and look up this Up Above My Head on YouTube, they'll find how improvisational it really is. There's so many different lyrics out there as well. Now, what I decided to do though, this is a pretty esoteric song. There's not a lot of people who know Up Above My Head.
Sure.
Even music gurus like J. Gregory Overson didn't know about Up Above My Head, one of our friends. So I said to myself, I'm going to put that in the intro and I'm going to sing some of it at my piano. And then I'm going to do a holiday medley, Al, where I'm going to go next into something that everybody knows.
Okay.
One of the songs that almost everybody knows during the holiday season and the Christmas season is Away in a Manger.
Very
And
true.
we're going to talk about that when we come out of this song a little bit. And then I said, then I'm going to do something for my jazz fans. And I'm going to take that piano and meld it into another song called the Christmas Waltz. And it is a waltz. It's a 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. So those who like to dance, it actually is a Christmas waltz that our friend Frank Sinatra sang and others. And then it almost sounds like I'm ending it out, but I pause and bring it back to end with a little bit more up above my head, right?
You tie it all together.
Yeah. So for Scott, I said, I'm going to make a holiday version of this and kind of give everybody who doesn't really know this song at all, maybe in the medley house, something that they do recognize if it's Away in a Manger or it might be the Christmas Waltz. So what if we listen to that now and then come on back and talk about those other songs?
Okay, and before we go, please tip the cats at jessicaleejazz.com. Help defray the cost, especially during this holiday season. Thank you very much, and I'm excited about this next song. Jess, let's do it.
Up above my head, there's music in the air. Up above my head, music in the air. I know there's a heaven somewhere now. Here in this room, music's in the air. Here in this room now, music's in the air. I know there's a heaven somewhere now. If the music went away, it would be so sad. If the music went away, will it be so sad now? We pray if the music went away. Up above my head, there's angels in the air. Up above my head now, there's angels in the air. I know there's angels somewhere now. Up above my head, there's music in the air. Up above my head, there's music in the air. I know there's a heaven somewhere now. No grave for his bed, the little Lord Jesus lay down his sweet head. The stars in the sky look down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. The cattle are lowing, the poor baby wakes. The little Lord Jesus, no crying he makes. I love you, dear Jesus. Look down from the sky and stay by my mentor till morning is nigh. Frosted window panes and candles gleaming inside, painted candy canes on the tree. Santa's on his way, he's filled his sleigh with things, things for you and for me. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. This song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. Believe me, dear Jesus, I ask you to stay close by me forever and love me, I pray. Bless all the dear children in your tender care, and feed us for heaven to live with you. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. Up above my head, music in the air. I know there's a heaven somewhere now. I know there's a heaven somewhere now. I know there's a heaven somewhere now.
Jessica Lee, thanks for the prelude to this. It was just wonderful from the beginning to the change ups a couple times, and then the end. You know, I waited for the pause and it was there. So thank you very much. I enjoyed every bit of it. It's quite the holiday combination. I hope all of you out there enjoy it like I did. And we're going to chat a little bit about it right now. I did find out a couple things. This song, there was rumors that Martin Luther, the German Martin Luther, you know, great person that he was, religious guy, wrote this song for his children. But
Now,
that's
Al, which one are you talking about? Tell everybody.
That was the Cradles.
Away in a Manger. Away in a Manger.
Away in a Manger. Yeah, sorry, I got to specify that. And they based it on a Cradle Joy song that supposedly he wrote, which it wasn't his style of writing, because he always wrote a certain way, trying to dictate religious law and things, and just how he spoke. He was always trying to educate. So none of the words or the verses tie in with how Martin Luther actually was. And they found out that Americans wrote it, and I can share that with you. In 1845, William J. Kirkpatrick and James Ramsey Murray wrote this song, The Way It Is, and it became an American classic and a hit because of how they wrote it. And it became popular over in Europe which there's a theme to some of your jazz and blues songs that they become strong in Europe, and then they come to America a little late, and then they become widespread traditional hits. And this is one of those.
Al, right there, just to add a little color commentary, our American music and jazz music in particular, the Europeans love it and the Asians love it, and the various Asian countries and European countries. And just like our blue jeans, sometimes they're more popular abroad than they are here.
Yes, I found that out. Thanks for the insights with you doing this most of your life. You've lived it and done it, and you perform it. And I love the blues that you do, especially my special song. So I can't wait to hear that sometime. That's my special request.
I'm hearing you.
I'm
hearing you. Yeah. I got it in my head. I got that one. All right.
I know you do. And I like some of the scat that you do to it.
All right.
It's appreciated. But this was first performed in a Sunday school in Nashville in 1891. And it started sweeping America, from then. So imagine the history of this song. It just, goes on, and it's so popular today.
And, Al, when I was reading about Away in a Manger, which all of us have sung forever around Christmas time, right? In churches and in holiday events. Well, I found a lot of controversy, and at the end of the day, they said, well, it was written in 1882-ish.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost unknown authorship, because they think those guys wrote most of it, but they're not 100% sure. And then there's some things that are like interesting on the lyric side too. I sing a verse that says, "Be near me, dear Jesus. I ask you to stay." That verse, and that they say might have come much later, for example. So it's interesting. It was written a long time ago in the 1800s, and there's still controversy about who wrote what part of the music, who wrote which lyrics. And a little bit like our first song, Up Above My Head, there's some controversy because it's so old.
No, it is
so old,
And I saw some of the similar things you're talking about. There were verses out there. Then one new verse came in and become part of it. Then another new verse came into it. So there's like 3 or 4 verses that were added to it that become classical now, that are sung all the time. And it's taken for granted. That's how this song was. So it's a mishmash of what authors did and what their insights in music were like. That's how I look at it.
That's exactly right. And I think, the third song that I included in that medley for everybody was the Christmas Waltz, which is kind of a very sweet lyric about the holiday season and how everybody greets each other and has more goodwill towards each other sometimes in the holiday season, thinking about spirituality a little bit more on the forefront of the mind. And that one, we do know who wrote that, Al. So go ahead.
Yes, we do. We know that Sammy Cahn and Jules Stein wrote it for exclusively Frank Sinatra. And it was in 1954 on the B side of White Christmas. That's my research for you. I was just amazed by that, and just how it was. And I'll share this, that 1957, it was sang For a Jolly Christmas from Frank Sinatra. He performed it then. And then 1968, the Sinatra family Wish You a Merry Christmas. It was sung again there. And then no version of this song reached the charts. And here's what I find ironic, until 2003, when Harry Connick Jr., we all heard of him, and what a talent, it reached number 26. So then, I got to drop some names for you. And a couple of the ones that have sang some of your other songs: Peggy Lee, Doris Day, Jack Jones, Bing Crosby, Pat Boone, The Lettermen, Robert Goulet, one of my favorites, Sammy Cahn, the Osmonds, and many, many, many more. I could have wrote 20 more names. I'm hitting a period as a talking machine right now.
Well, I want to say that that Christmas waltz is maybe a little better known in jazz circles as a holiday tune that some of the jazz performers, like you mentioned, Harry Connick and Peggy Lee and others have done. It's a beautiful tune. And for those who are ethnic and like to waltz and do those beautiful, beautiful dances, it is in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3 versus 4/4 time. A lot of others are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4 time. So it's a waltz, a true waltz where you could dance to it, and it's a beautiful little song. If people like to look up some of these songs on YouTube, they will find all kinds of beautiful versions of this particular song, but it is still much lesser known. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
No, it's true. It's almost like an oxymoron here. How can that be? And yet it is. And
Yeah.
I just appreciated that so much.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, to thank you, Al. You always tell everybody about the website, which is just my name, Jessica Lee, Lee, Jazz, Jazz, jessicaleejazz.com. Today, there are 2 reasons why I would love if people would go over to jessicaleejazz.com. One is because there's something brand new on the website. If you go to the website, and on the side, next to the pictures, there's a list of words, and one is music. And if you click on music, Al, you're going to see the brand new album is there, and people can download the songs for 99 cents a piece, or they can download the entire album for $9.99. It's a brand new live album that has big monster songs on there, like What a Wonderful World and Change the World, and remembers Maxine Sullivan, who also is one of those lesser known great singers from Pittsburgh. The reason I mentioned that, though, if anybody would like to go there during the holiday season and download those songs, download the album, or just go to the tip jar, the Tip the Cats tip jar at the homepage, you can use your credit card for any of that. And we are going to, during the entire month of December, Al, take all of the proceeds from that, and we're going to use it to do by request songs for people who are shut in hospitals, in nursing homes, in prisons, in senior homes. And we're really going to try to take the by request through walls to people who are shut in during the holiday season. And so if people would like to purchase the new live album that features guitar great Mark Strickland, saxophone great Luz DeLute, conga drummer, percussion great George Jones, and we even have some beautiful acoustic rhythm guitar from Roy Ruzicka on Autumn Leaves. We have some monster songs on there, and the proceeds go to a really, really good cause during December. And, Al, I think even after, I think 2021, I'm going to dedicate all of the proceeds from that the downloads to the shut-in community, taking music virtually into those who can't come out and hear it even after the coronavirus. So the other thing that we mentioned before is that signed CDs are going to be available soon, and that begins December 1st. And signed CDs will go to benefit various charities, such as the EAT Initiative to feed people who are hungry during the pandemic. We've had Joanne Forrester on this show before, who's doing a lot for women innovators and shining a light on them during this 100th celebration of the anniversary of the right to vote for women. So we're going to be doing some signed CDs where people make certain contributions, and they'll get one of those too. But Jessica Lee Jazz, it would be great if people could check out the new album, and those proceeds will go to a good cause to bring music to people who are shut in.
Hey, Jess, that is a great plan. I plan on getting a CD and help to donate with you. I'm holding back a little bit until the right time. When you give me the word go, I will go. And I'm also planning to do a couple fundraisers with nonprofits like the Kidney Foundation and some other things locally too, because I'm all in with you being with this spirituality and trying to inspire people, because depression is running rampant in our country. And people are all suffering from the corona fatigue that I call it. And we have to keep wearing our masks, practice social distancing, and like I say, keep being kind. Just be kind out there. It's not time to argue. We can do that another day. Let's fight through this the best way. Vaccines are coming. They know how to treat the disease, but we're getting so many more cases that it's unreal. We had 4 million cases in the last month of sick people. And
yeah, Al, and I would like to say that I have family and friends right now who are fighting the coronavirus. You know that, and I
yes,
won't name names, but I will tell everybody out there who has family, friends, maybe even some people who've passed on to heaven from the virus that
yes,
we're with you. You're not alone. Everybody is praying and singing songs and sending good energy to anybody out there who's hurting, who's watching this right now, that you're not alone, and hang in there. And Al, I wonder if you might just share a little bit about, your own story. I would like to tell everybody this for the holiday. This is our big holiday kickoff show. So you and I have known each other for several years going
8
back,
years,
and
8+ years.
now.
Yes.
Al, I'm going to tell you, you would come to all of these live music shows and bring such a good energy and be willing to, a lot of our shows were to benefit charities and entrepreneurial ventures and social ventures. And you always brought such a great energy. And I didn't know, and nobody knew in the music circle, that you were fighting quietly your own fight. And you never let us know until it was very late in the game. Can you tell everybody what that fight was, how you kept some faith and hope alive, and how it turned out?
I can share that. It's great to be your friend and to help you do shows and stuff. I enjoy it. I have a history of jazz and blues in my blood through my father and Tony Mowad and things like that. So it was so ironic that I met you through Hugathon Pittsburgh when I had to talk about that at one of your entrepreneurial Thursdays. Try to say that, folks. So I learned to speak that way and, talk. Of course I can, but my battle starts with, I had just turned 60 years old and I hadn't seen my doctor for 5 years because complications of my dad with his PCP. There were a couple issues that I was a little bit upset and frustrated by the system. And I believe in doctors and science, and I stay in good shape. You could say at my age, I'm in pretty good shape, and I try to practice eating well as per my dinners on Facebook. So my kids finally browbeat me after 9 months because I'm stubborn. And I went to my daughter's PCP, and he goes, you got some blood pressure and a few other issues we can treat, and you have stage 4 renal failure. So I asked him what that meant.
And now, what year was that when you found out?
This was 2017. Yeah. And it was actually February 17th, 2017, if you want to know the date. And I was shocked, but I'm an optimistic and positive person. So the first thing I said, because, I'm a little sarcastic, I go, could I get a second opinion? He goes, Al, you can get as many second opinions as you want. I got to send you to a nephrologist. Now I'm a smart guy. I go, who's a nephrologist? He goes, that's your kidney doctor. You got to see her and she'll help you out. And I go, I want to fight it. What do I have to do? He goes, I'll prescribe some meds and she'll prescribe and, check you out. So I met her, same thing, got second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion. And I kept it to myself because I found out later, 1 out of 3 Americans have no symptoms. I had no symptoms. I'm not going to give you the details, but I didn't have any issues health-wise. And I had no symptom whatsoever, no pain, no problems, going to the bathroom.
And so, Al, so you were stage 4, you said?
Yes.
And for people that aren't aware, what does that mean?
That means the function of your kidney is 12 to 15%, and it could be fatal over time. And if you didn't get treated through other medications and seeing doctors, you could die. And a little side note, I won't mention the guy's name. He was 1 year older than me. After my surgery, I saw his uncle, and he told me my friend died due to liver and kidney failure. He was 1 year older than me. I was 63 last year. He was 64, and he died. So I'm thankful to both of my children, Casey and Drew. They got their dad finally to go to the doctor and find out a hidden disease. I could have died not treating it.
So Al, you kept that to yourself
Yes.
from February 2017 all the way until
September of 2019.
right. And then you kind of told everybody, and what happened? Who gave you a kidney?
Well, my son, I didn't ask him because he had just gotten out of the Navy a couple years, was working, going to school. So I didn't want to mess with his life. I figured I trust God. I believe in God, and there's a message for me. So I just stayed positive like I am and put my faith out there. I was on the list May of 2018, and my son come up in December of 2018. He goes, Dad, I'm 6'1.5", 250. I'm healthy. I want to give you a kidney because I love you. I go, Drew, are you serious? He goes, yeah, let's do it. I go, we'll start making calls. August of 2019, he went in for a whole day, got tested. They said, we'll get back to you. He was 100% a perfect match.
It's kind of a miracle, Al. And when you think about it, you were very quiet while you were waiting for a kidney. You never told any of the music crowd. You were very kind and positive to people when you had a lot going on yourself. You kept your faith. What was the date when the surgeries happened for you and your son?
Well, I got a little side story for that. They told us in August, Drew was a perfect match. They go, we'll try to, because I go, we can do it as soon as possible, right? So they told me the first Friday of September, which would be the 6th, would be the day to do it. So me being a little contrary, I go, well, that's, Labor Day. I'm like, I don't want people celebrating Labor Day week and then possibly doing surgery, cutting me open and doing all the work on me, because I got it in God's hands. But if I can control it a little bit. So I go, when's the next date? They go, okay, we understand your concerns, but the next date is Friday the 13th, September. So I go, forget about superstition. When I played sports, I was superstitious. This is about my life and my future, and my son's helping me. Let's do it. Well, needless to say, my son was a little quizzical about it. Not that he was upset, but he's a little superstitious. And I told him why, and he goes, okay, let's do it. And that was our lucky day. I told him, Drew, that'll be our lucky day. I believe in God, and we'll come out of this with no problem. Now, he asked me, he goes, Dad, are you worried? I go, no, I'm confident. They do 200 kidney transplants, liver transplants and stuff. I'm not worried at all. I'm going to follow the doctor and not break any rules. So he goes, well, Dad, I'm actually a little nervous. I've never had surgery like that. I go, you're allowed to be nervous. We'll just believe that we'll get through this with God's help. It became our lucky day. His surgery went before mine. It was fine. I'll give the little bit of the details in a shorter version. The surgery was supposed to be 3 hours. I was in there 9 hours.
Wow.
I was so whacked out on steroids and, anesthesia that I got out. I went in at 9:30, got out at 6:30. I thought I was kidnapped. I was asking him and talking crazy. My daughter goes, Dad, please shut up. Drew talked to me. I was mean to his orderly, and he was mad and left. I didn't even know I saw him. So that's how crazed I was. And I talked to a couple people at the Kidney Foundation, and one lady said her father-in-law had the same thing happen to him. He thought he was kidnapped. And I talked to another person. They were in 12 hours. They thought they were kidnapped. So I'm with the club that I didn't want to be. But what they found out is 20% of transplant people have a bad artery. They put it in your stomach area. They need a blood source, so they go to the right leg artery, the main artery, and they found out mine was calcified and dissected. And they told me later, when the doctor was back the next day, they cut 6 inches of my artery and clamped it for an hour to decide what route they could go. So they told me the details. They have cadavers that are frozen. So they got 6 inches of a cadaver artery, grafted it to my leg. And that's why my leg was numb from my ankle to my upper thigh. I couldn't walk. I had to use.
Al, let's talk about that real quick, because we don't have that many more minutes here, but no. I want to talk to you about that. If you hadn't actually had that surgery, they wouldn't have found that out, right?
No, I had 2 miracles is what I'm sharing with you. And that's what I wanted to end it with. I had 2 miracles because I had no symptoms. They even asked afterwards, did you have pain in your leg? I go, I'd walk every day, half an hour or so, never had pain, do things, not stopped by anything. And they go, you received another miracle. And yeah. I'm truly blessed, and I get chills telling the story, but I like telling the story to inspire others that just don't give up. You believe and do what you have to do in the way that you think you should, because you're led by God. And it worked for me. I'm so blessed.
Yeah, Al, there's a song that I sang, I guess, on my first album that I ever did, called Bluebird Fly. And it's called Right Place, Right Now. And the lyric talks about the fact that you and I are sitting here, and whoever's watching us on TV at home or on the computer, you're sitting there. Dave Cable is filming us. He's sitting there. Yeah. While we sit here, the earth is rotating on its axis and it's spinning around the sun. Yes. And we're held here by gravity together. It is a miracle that we're here at all able to do this today. And so I just hope that everybody who hears your story, who hears some of the music on the Bible Quest shows, gets a little bit of hope, a little bit of uplifting inspiration, that sometimes there are good things at work that we cannot see. And just to hold on for a little bit more and have a little bit of hope, maybe a little bit of faith, push that fear away, and that some better days are going to come.
Well, thank you very much, Jess. I'm honored to share that with all of you out there, and just try to stay positive, and you can overcome. And the biggest thing is you got to believe. And I got compliments in the hospital. They said they never had a patient that positive. So
I want to compliment you. You've trained your mind. You've trained your mind to be positive. Yes. It's a training process. It's a practice that a lot of great performers, a lot of great athletes also do. They train their minds to look at the silver linings and the positives. That you found some miracles in your story. Did. And I would just say, to everybody, thank you for continuing to send the Bible Quest songs in, those messages that make you feel better when you're really blue. And please keep sending them, Al, and we'll do them for everybody and put them out.
Yes. And thank you very much for watching. Please tip the cats and continue watching our shows and take the positivity and use it for yourself.